Tip number 1. Understanding Bryan and the reward you get for sticking with the character. Bryan is an easy character to get into for beginners. You can pick up the character, spam your string, spam your back one, spam your snake edge. However, mastering the character is what makes it hard. People often drop Bryan a lot because he's very difficult to master at the highest of levels. So if you find yourself struggling with this character, just know that this is something that comes with the character, similar to characters like Raven. The more you play the character, the more you stick with the character, it only gets better from there. These characters play differently. They don't offer the same ease of use such as characters like Shaheen can give you. You have to dedicate your time to actually taking time to stick with the character, take your losses to heart, but overall it just gets better. When you get to that high level state or gain those mastery levels, the shit you can do with this character is downright insane. So if you picked up Bryan recently and you're finding yourself struggling a lot with this character, that's just something that comes with how the character works in this game. So trust me guys, if you love Bryan, stick with the character and it just gets better from there, as you will be rewarded the more you play this character. Understanding Bryan's archetype, the new counter-punching paragon of Tekken 8. That title now belongs to Bryan and not Steve. Whatever this man throws out is most likely going to be a counter hit. It's insane how much this dude has counter hit tools. Probably the best counter hit character in the game alongside Lee. Now at the highest of levels, this has to be calculated offense in terms of counter hit. Every counter hit tool that Bryan has a specific use. You can't just spam everything willy-nilly. A lot of his stuff has huge whiff recovery, at least at the highest of levels. So whilst on paper it might look like this man is a god at counter hits, they do have some weaknesses and they can be worked around. So this is an archetype that most people don't understand or just don't like in general. So if you find yourself struggling with Bryan, this might be the issue. Maybe you just don't like the way the character plays, you don't understand how his archetype works in general, because it can be very difficult to open up opponents due to this fact. People are not patient enough to just fish for counter hits over and over again. So keep that in mind. This man offers a lot of counter hit tools which need to be calculated guys. Calculated offense, calculated placements on those CH tools, and if you do learn those CH, oh my days, is the reward insane. So you want counter hits, Bryan has that for you. The Bryan Electric or QCB1 is one of the best moves in the game for space control. It works basically the same as an electric in terms of space control. However, it does not launch on normal hit, it knocks down, it only launches on counter hit, and it is +5 on block as well, which offers some really strong mind games and mix-ups. This move is still ridiculous, one of the best moves in the game. The amount of space control on this thing is crazy. It's also 13 frames fast. It's insane. So you use this to control the space, and of course you use the pairing of quarter circle forward 1+2 as the mid mix-up. Of course QCB1 is a high, so you use QCF 1+2 as the mid mix-up. Now this was nerfed in season 2, the tracking was hit, but this move still tracks pretty decently, so you won't really find yourself getting stepped all that much unless maybe at the highest of levels. You just need to be a little bit more careful when using QCF 1+2. You need a few more moves to complement this weakness after the nerfs, so you can introduce forward 4 in your mix-up game for that range. So this is a homing high that knocks down on normal hit and guarantees you a mid soccer kick. It is a high though, so you have to be careful because QCB1 is a high as well. So if they make a hard read and you go for either of these moves, you get ducked and you get launched. In comes in down forward 4. This is a move you rarely see from Bryan mains, again due to the fact that QCF 1+2 still has some decent tracking even after the nerfs. But for some reason, if you find yourself getting stepped more than usual for doing QCF 1+2, then you might want to introduce down forward 4 in your arsenal. So these 4 moves are like the 4 horsemen of the mid-range mix up with Bryan: QCB1, forward 4, QCF 1+2, and down forward 4. There is no way an opponent is dealing with this unless they know it's coming. So the mentality you had in season 1 of just spamming QCB1 and QCF 1+2 is not the same anymore. You have to be a little bit more careful. However, that control Bryan still has. He still commands the 1 range, the 1.5, the 2 range with these mids, and it's just insane, man. QCB1, insane move. Going back to the discussion of counter hit tools on Bryan. Now I feel as though a lot of Bryan players don't specifically know why they throw out these counter hit tools. Every single counter hit tool that Bryan has its specific use outside of just being a counter hit launcher. So for example, let's start with the common Bryan back 1. So this mid is +4 on block and launches on counter hit, of course. So Bryan players love to spam this move because of those properties. However, it does come with its weaknesses. It's a bit slow and it's linear, very vulnerable to jabs, and of course can be stepped. So when you're using this move, it's good for pressure because again it's +4, so you can go for your classic frame traps, down forward 2, jabs afterwards. So that's the reason why you throw out back 1, to condition your opponent not to press buttons, to implement that pressure with the added bonus of it being a counter hit 2. Next is 3+4. Like, why are you using 3+4 outside of it just being a counter hit 2? It's -13 on block with massive pushback, so why are you creating that space between you and your opponent, right? You want to be in your opponent's face as Bryan, so why are you using 3+4? Well, this move is very strong to get opponents off of you, especially when you have a life lead. Make it as annoying as possible for the opponent to come in against you. Don't make it easy. So 3+4 is perfect for that use case. Not just a counter hit launcher, guys, but the use case of space control is important on 3+4. You also have other moves like forward 3, which is insane for poking because this knee is 0 on block, guys. 0 on block counter hit launcher. Can even be +1 or +2 depending on the spacing. So you can have some sick poking potential with forward 3 on its own. You can step afterwards, throw in some jabs afterwards, create massive mind games with the added bonus of being a counter hit 2 on top of that. So this is what I'm talking about with Bryan. It's not just about the move being a counter hit 2, but having other added benefits to being a counter hit 2 as well. We spoke about QCB1 previously and how it's so good for space control. Not just a counter hit launcher, but space control as well. You have down forward 2 as well, with the last hit being a counter hit launcher. This is used for a mix-up case with down forward 2-1, which second hit is a high, so it's a mix-up. So know your counter hit tools with Bryan. Know the reason why you're throwing out these counter hit tools, not just for the counter hit itself. Bryan is also one of the most damaging characters in the game, mostly because of his up forward 2 string whilst in Snake Eyes. So because of this, you want to always screw or tornado using up forward 3+4 or QCF24, because this gives you a guaranteed Snake Eyes whilst doing a combo. So combo into up forward 3+4, you get your Snake Eyes to the wall into up forward 2-2-2-3 for mark as damage. Now this is very basic, but I do run into a lot of Bryan players that use different tornadoes in their combos or like different screws. There is no reason to do this unless you already have Snake Eyes, or maybe you're in hit and you have another higher damaging screw. There is no reason to use any other screw apart from up for 3+4 and QCF24 to get that Snake Eyes into the wall, and then combo ender from there. So don't forget this, guys. Snake Eyes, very important for your wall combo ender, as it does a shitload of damage. Up forward 2 as well. The up forward 2 string whilst in hit is also a very strong 13 frame punisher. I only see me using this and not many other Bryan players, so guys, keep that in mind. It does a shitload of damage and is a very strong 13 frame punisher as well. Bryan's Incinerator is one of the most overpowered moves in the game free. This shit is actually insane. So this is a 5 hit string he gains whilst in hit. The whole string is safe at -10, but it has massive pushback, so it's technically safe unless your opponent's back is against the wall. The whole string is hit confirmable. You have all the time in the world to confirm this string when you land it on hit. The third and last string can be delayed as well. The third and last string are -2 and -3 respectively, and the whole string does 48 damage free, boys. 48 damage. It doesn't even use all that much hit gauge. Like, all my days is this move amazing, bro. Like, I wish my main had this move. Like, it's actually insane. The mind games that come with this move are out of this freaking world, bro. The fact that the third hit and the fourth hit are -2 and -3 basically makes it so that this string is like a down forward 1 in general. So every mix-up that comes with a down forward 1 you can use with Incinerator, but this one you get the benefit of, if it lands I do 50 damage, right? If it blocks, it's mind games. Like, it's just that insane. And again, this is Bryan, mind you. You can't just press buttons randomly against him as the opponent. You have to be smart. So you can do stuff like forward 2-1-2 into forward 3, right? You delay, maybe you'll be like, okay, he won't finish the string, or you realize you won't finish the string. By the time you realize that it's too late, you throw out something, boom, you get hit by a counter hit knee. You can do forward 2-1-2-3 into jab strings, you get counter hit again, forward 2-1-2 into grab, forward 2-1 into low. Like, you get the idea, right? The mind games that come with the string are insane. Basically, a juiced up down forward 1 is what Bryan has with this Incinerator, and not many people actually realize that. Like, you only see this shit spammed at high level because it is fucking insane, guys. Like, I'm gonna glaze out of this move because it's insane. So learn to implement your Incinerator whilst in hit, probably his most important move whilst in hit as well. Understanding Bryan's strengths also means understanding his weaknesses, and Bryan's biggest weaknesses is, firstly, he does not have very good high crush in terms of his lows. He only has down back 3, which is the commonly used high crush option, as well as snake edge, which you never see at high level. So as much as he can dish out so much pressure, he's also not pretty good at dealing with jab pressure in general. Now, QCB1 does have some high crush properties, but that's like only on frame 1, and it's very difficult to use QCB1 against an opponent in your face. When an opponent is in your face, you want to press the fastest button as possible, right? So it's not very easy to deal with jab pressure as Bryan. So this also works the same way as it is difficult for him to deal with characters throwing out jabs with his lows. Let's say against Steve, for example, Steve has that back 1. So Bryan has this big wind up moves, even his his low soccer kick does not crush jabs, so it's very difficult against Steve just throwing out these wind up moves knowing Steve has jabs and that back 1. So he does have 1-4 and 1-1 as his fastest staying frame counter hit to deal with like opponents in your face, but again, having jabs as a panic move is not really all that good because someone can throw out just a low crushing move and deal with your jabs immediately, right? So this is perhaps Bryan's biggest weakness, and knowing your character's weakness can be your biggest strength. As strong as he is at counter hit pressure, he's not that great at dealing with pressure and high crushing. Now, outside of his low soccer kick, at first glance, Bryan might seem as though his other lows just suck. Down back 3, only -1 on hit, down 4, down 3, 0 on hit, very mediocre. But just like his counter hit tools, Bryan's low pokes also have a very specific use, and they all complement his playstyle and his archetype. So for example, down 4. Down 4 creates a nice space between you and your opponent, so it's another good low to throw out if you want to back out or just create some space between you and the opponent, and it puts them at the right distance that Bryan always wants to be in, that QCB1 distance, bro, that 3+4-1 distance, QCF1+2, forward 4, 3+4, the back 1. This is the perfect distance that Bryan wants to be in. So this space he creates opens up like so many mind games, right? You do down 4, the opponent either backs away or tries to come in pressing buttons. So you can do like down 4, throw out jabs to catch them coming in, right? To catch them pressing buttons. They step away, dash forward, down 4 again, or throw out your counter hit tools, right? Your back 1s, the QCB1. So it's not just a low poke that's 0 on block and does little damage. Think of what to do afterwards. Think of what this low implies. Like, why does Bryan have this low that pushes opponents back? There is a reason behind that. So know your next move when throwing out this low and what you can do. The same applies for down 3. The opposite of down 4, down 3 leaves you close to the opponent and it's 0 on hit. So instead of having those mid-range mind games, you have point-blank range mind games. So you know, like down 3 into jabs, down 3 sidestep jet upper, down 3 forward 3, right? The only difference is the spacing. This one leaves you point-blank range, while down 4 create some space. Even down back 3, only -1 on hit. Firstly, this is Bryan's best high crush option, right? So it's very important. also creates a set of mind games, right? If you do down 3, if you do down back 3 into full crouch down forward 4, that down forward 4 can crush jabs. So if opponent tries to jab after I throw out down forward 3, that completely goes under jabs. If they know this, they realize this, that throwing a down forward 1 after your down back 3, you can do while standing 3 instead. That will trade with a down forward 1 in your favor. You can still get a combo out of this. So his low pokes are pretty decent, and they have some pretty strong mind games outside of just being their basic low pokes. So don't really discard these low pokes and just spam low soccer kick with Bryan. He has other lows that actually do something as well, so just keep that in mind. Bryan gains access to a lot of hit moves whilst in hit, so it can be overwhelming at times to figure out which move you want to prioritize. And I'll be honest with you guys, everything this man has in hit is super strong. There is no wrong option to use them, just wrong situations. So my biggest example for this is Bryan's wall combo ender. He's up for 2-2-2-2-3. So usually when you are in hit and you take opponents to the wall, you don't really want to go for this wall ender, especially in a situation where you won't really kill your opponent. But if you need the damage, yes, by all means go for it. But in a case where you have a pretty good life lead and a good situation, don't go for the wall ender that costs hit. Save that hit gauge for going for something more scary after the basic wall combo like Oki, right? Save it for Oki, because at the wall, Bryan does have that 3+4-2, which is a guard break. Guard breaks are all broken in this game. They're super cheap, so at the wall, that's a good option. Save your incinerator for basic pressure. Basically doesn't take up that much hit, so I want to use that for incinerator. You have his new back 1+2 on block +4, knocks down for a guaranteed quarter circle forward 1+2. This one not really as important because you do have a generic back one which is also +4. However, it does leave you in crouch, which gives you access to his new juiced up full crouch down for 3 low soccer kick. So it's a very good string to use back to back, right? Back 1+2 into full crouch down for 3. So again, you can combo those two as well. He has a punch parry with forward 1+2. If you're dealing with so much pressure, use that defensively. So he has a lot of options, but again, depending on the situation, pick your poison. But everything is good. Just don't waste your hit spamming the one thing over and over again. Everything this man has is good, but use them in the right situations. Last but not least, the difference between an intermediate level Bryan player to a high level Bryan is night and day. The thing about Bryan is this guy becomes a final boss when you master this character. That's going to be a thing when you pick up this character. Like, this goes back to my first point because it's just that important. When you watch a high level Bryan player, you see the tones being implemented a lot with this character. This is like boss level Bryan. When you're playing Bryan for the first time or just intermediate level, you just barely tapped into this character's potential. You're only using 10% of his brain, bro. Like, when you get to like 30%, bro, like, it just keeps getting better and better and better. So you as a Bryan player have the goal to become that god level Bryan. Not many characters work like this in this game, but you have to get to that toned level with this character. The taunt is a free guard break. Most of the guard breaks in this game are locked behind hit, but Bryan has this for free, and this is the most difficult thing about playing this character, and this is where I want you to be. This is the level I want you to get at. When you're playing Bryan right now without taunt, you're not playing Bryan, bro. You're learning Bryan. Start taunting and then you're playing Bryan. So there you have it, boys. 10 quickfire tips to help you essentially improve with our boy Bryan Fury. If you want me to do a part 2, please get those likes up. Let's get to about 50 likes. I want this video to do well. If it does do well, I'll drop a part 2. Do consider subscribing as well. I'm dropping tips videos for every character in the game, so you do not want to miss that. And lastly, if you do love some Bryan stuff, I have done a Bryan guide as well, so check that out at your own free time. GG, Nemi gang, and may the frame data be ever in your favor.